Welcome to this Triangles webinar. We are today Monday, September the 9th, 2024, and my name is Mintse van der Velde and I'm speaking from Geneva. Today we have a special contribution about triangles and the world of the arts by Philippe Robert. Philippe is a co-worker of the French desk in Geneva, where, among other things, he manages the French Triangles desk. He is a professional engraver working in the watch industry in Switzerland. As Philippe doesn't speak English, another co-worker, Vincent Claessens, will read the text he prepared. We begin with some introductory remarks about triangles, followed by a visualization on the Great Invocation, which regular participants in this webinar are familiar with. Then we will have a talk of our guest, Philippe, on triangles and the world of the arts, with some time for discussion. We will conclude with a Triangles webinar meditation, energizing the Planetary Network of Triangles. Most of you know that this monthly Triangles webinar has two major goals, both of which seek to strengthen the Planetary Network. The first one, to have a space where existing Triangles members can come together to share in a meditative visualization in support of the Triangles work and to hear reflections and share ideas about world service through the power of thought from different Triangles co-workers. And second, to introduce new people to Triangles and hopefully stimulate the formation of new Triangles. Don't forget, if you already have a triangle, you may also want to form a new one. There's information on the Triangles website, www.triangles.org, about how to form a triangle, including a section where you can form a triangle online by entering your details and inviting others to contact you to form such a triangle. In the presentation of today, we will see works of art from artists of very different backgrounds. What I would like to emphasize is the difference of their philosophical or perhaps spiritual backgrounds, but each of them were exponents of their particular time. We cannot isolate them from the time they were living in. The Triangles network is made up of individuals around the planet who also come from different spiritual backgrounds, but share a common belief in the powerful role that meditation, prayer, and invocation can play in the creation of a better world. As you know, the Triangles network consists of groups of 3 people who agree to link in thought every day, visualizing themselves as a triangle of light and together invoking energies of light and goodwill by sounding the Great Invocation. Coming back to our artists, if we focus, for example, on the beginning of the 20th century, we clearly see the influence H.P. Blavatsky and Rudolf Steiner had on the artists and thinkers of that time. In literature, we have Frank Baum, the author of The Wizard of Oz, William Butler Yeats, the Anglo-Irish poet, James Joyce, D.H. Lawrence, and T.S. Eliot, amongst others. In the world of painters, we have amongst others Piet Mondrian, Paul Klee, Paul Gauguin, Wassily Kandinsky, and Hilma af Klint. And in the work of music, Alexander Scriabin and Erik Satie. It is fascinating to see how different these people were, and at the same time, perhaps on more subtle levels, they had much in common. Kandinsky, for example, always maintained that music was the ultimate and primary art form. and that his aim was to try and bring something of the abstract beauty and spirituality of music into his paintings. They were forming the avant-garde or pioneers of their time. Each triangle is not isolated either. It is part of the global network of triangles. The lighted energy of divinity that are invoked are visualized as flowing out from each triangle, through the network of triangles, and into the world of human consciousness, strengthening all that is good and true and beautiful in the world. The network has been built over many decades and can be seen as a strong, well-established, potent structure in the etheric or energetic body of humanity and of the planet. Spiritual energies flow through this network into the consciousness of humanity to touch all those hearts and minds that are open to spiritual stimulation. It is tempting to think that all these artists were somehow an expression of the fourth ray of harmony. We are told that indeed this fourth ray of harmony gives to all forms that which produces beauty and works towards the harmonizing of all effects emanating from the world of causes. The ray of beauty, of art and harmony is the producer of the quality of organization through form. In the last analysis, it is the ray of mathematical exactitude, and is not so much the ray of the artist. The Tibetan reminds us, the artist is found on all rays, just as the engineer or the physician, the homemaker or the musician. I just mentioned that the Triangles network is aiming at strengthening all that is good and true and beautiful in the world. It is probably fair to say that this goal is driving most of the artists too. Triangle workers work on fully abstract levels. Artists add to that the form of their artistic expression: a painting, a piece of music, a book. Do we see any of the results, that's to say, any effects in the world of daily living, or to stretches to a very large scale, in the consciousness of humanity? Unless we were to have etheric vision, or vision on even more subtle planes, we will hardly see any immediate results in the outer world. This is true for artists and triangle workers alike. Yet, we are told that energy follows thought. With that knowledge, it urges us each day to do our triangle not as a daily routine, but with the deepest intention and best understanding of the great invocation we can attain. In that way, our contribution, no matter how small it may appear, will contribute perhaps a small point of light entering in this world. The artists have their way of expression, and often their lives were not simple and full of tension, a tension necessary to bring about their work of art. A final thought is that we are told to be detached from results. That is often easier said than done, but may it help us to continue our triangles work with steadfastness and confidence. With these thoughts, let us now go into our visualization, reflection on the great invocation. We link in thought as a soul, as a point of love and light, with all those people throughout the world who are part of the Triangle's service work. Then we visualize the world situation as best as we can and see people everywhere glowing with a dim light, and here and there points of brighter light where men and women of spiritual intention and of loving hearts are working for their fellow human beings. Then we visualize through the creative imagination the vivid light of the spiritual kingdom streaming towards humanity and slowly emerging with the light which is already in humanity. We say the first stanza of the adapted Great Invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into human minds. Let light descend on earth. Then ponder upon the reappearance of the coming world teacher. Realize that no matter by what name he may be called in the many world religions, he is still the same great identity. Reflect and speculate upon the possible results of his appearance. We then say the second stanza of the great invocation. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into human hearts. May the coming one return to earth. Then endeavor to concentrate our fixed intention to serve and to spread love in our surroundings, and realize that insofar as can do these things, we are attempting to blend our personal will with the divine will. Then we say the third stanza of the invocation. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all little human wills, the purpose which the masters know and serve. Then we sound the Om, dedicating the threefold personality to the working out of the divine plan. Thank you. Now, it is a pleasure to invite Vincent to present Philippe's talk on triangles and the world of the arts. If you were to have any question, please put it in the chat. And even if Philippe doesn't speak English, he will always try to answer you by email as far as possible. Vincent, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Mintz. Hello, dear friends. In the context of this meeting, we would like to discuss the theme of triangles in the world of art. We will try to see if and how triangles and the profound meaning we know them to have can interfere and maintain a relationship with art. From the outset, the shape of a triangle can inspire a symbolic theme, but before considering it in this way, let us try to imagine how an artist might feel when faced with a blank page in front of him or her. For some people, a blank page can evoke an anguishing emptiness that can even momentarily paralyze a creative impulse waiting to manifest itself. However, a classic blank page is generally rectangular or square in shape, and we will limit ourselves to choosing one of these two shapes. So we are in front of this blank page, chosen to be rectangular, and we are wondering what is going to happen from there. In an art academy, we learn that there is a stage where our attention is drawn to the commonly recognized fact that in a blank page lines of force are inscribed, implied, or perceived. They may not be visible, but they are felt intellectually or even intuitively. For example, the angle at the bottom left is thought to be polarized as doubly negative. Its opposite, at the top right, is seen as doubly positive. The corner at the top left is both positive and negative, as is its opposite at the bottom right. Generally, when a drawing, a painting, or even an engraving is undertaken to represent one or more characters or objects, there is a kind of convention inviting us to imagine that the source of light comes from the top left-hand corner of the page. From then on, the shadows cast will be conditioned by this subjective source of light. Let's go back to an example that was proposed in the Beacon a few years ago. This example has the merit of being representative to illustrate what has just been proposed. Let's take the painting The Raft of the Medusa by Théodore Géricault, a French 18th century painter. We see that the central theme occupies the middle of the painting, and the viewer can feel that there are three pyramids of people and human body in distress, while the tallest figure, surrounded by others, is looking towards the right-hand corner in the top of the painting where, on the horizon of the sea, there is a small pointed structure that might be evoked a boat in the distance. See the yellow circle. A boat that is still very small. A boat, therefore possible salvation. We can also see, however, that the sail of this makeshift raft is inflated by the wind as if to push it to the left, thus giving the raft an orientation towards the bottom left of the work, that is to say, towards the minus polar triangle, as if to further